Right. We'll go ahead and kick us off here. Welcome everyone to the product webinar introducing Ecotrak Build. We're really excited to show you this new iteration of the product. Just a brief overview. So Ecotrak Build is our new entry-level tier into Ecotrak. It's going to allow you to quickly build a formal foundation for your R&M strategy. So in this webinar, we're going to provide an overview of Build, who it's geared towards, and how it sets you up for success within the Ecotrak system. So we'll go ahead and get started. We do have a quick agenda to go over. So just a few points here. We want to start off by talking about who we are at Ecotrak first, kind of where we came from. And then from there, what is Ecotrak Build? How does it compare to our larger Ecotrak suite? And then we'll do a brief demonstration and some guides on the setup as well. Awesome. So a little bit about us. Ecotrak was founded in 2018 by a team of restaurant operators who really deeply understood the day-to-day challenges of managing multi-unit businesses. So they weren't technologists first, they were operators who lived the pain of reactive repairs and a lack of visibility into facilities and asset performance. And this industry perspective really shaped the platform's focus moving forward. Today, Ecotrak has become a trusted partner for multi-unit businesses looking to modernize their approach to facilities and asset management. We service over 250 brands across 15,000 locations, and our customers have logged more than 1.5 million assets in the system. So really, our goal at Ecotrak is to shift R&M from a reactive cost to a more data-driven and strategic function that can help you proactively plan in the future. Now, where Build sits into that is really our new entry-level tier and the best way to get introduced to Ecotrak for businesses with 10 or less locations. So Build is designed to help you get started fast, get the core functionality that powers day-to-day facilities operations. That includes things like having unlimited work orders, a fully loaded vendor network as well, modules for invoices, proposals, and location management, and tools to manage users and service providers. But more importantly, Build is the foundational step into the Ecotrak suite. So it gives you hands-on access to the platform's core workflows so you can understand how it fits into your business, how it streamlines your processes, and where it can scale with you. You can try Build today, completely free for 30 days, no contract, just a way to quickly evaluate our platform. And this new tier is really going to help you move from manual and reactive to structured and efficient at a pace that works for you. So what are some of those functions that Ecotrak Build includes? Really, Ecotrak Build is looking to move your teams beyond emails and spreadsheets and bring some structure to your R&M process. Operators can submit requests through Build with our mobile app or our desktop version. Work orders are centralized and trackable, and vendor communication becomes seamless. You also get to have your invoices embedded into the system and approval workflows as well. So nothing slips through the cracks. It's everything that you need to standardize your work order management and save time right out the gates. Now, as your operations grow, so can Ecotrak. So the full platform adds in advanced reporting and analytics, manage asset tracking, as well as preventive maintenance, amongst other modules as well. This is going to give you a deeper insight and control, and you can go from managing your repairs to truly optimizing your facilities program. So Ecotrak Build starts simple, but we scale with you. So you're always in control no matter how complex your operations become, how often you scale. We want to meet you where you're at. So we're going to go through a brief overview of what Ecotrak Build is as well. Again, as we're going through this webinar, there's also a Q&A button that you can access within the chat. So please feel free to ask questions throughout. We want to make sure that we're answering all of your questions that you may have about the platform. But we'll start off by doing a brief overview of Build. So I'll go ahead and switch over into Build. And we're going to jump in first with an overview of the onboarding dashboard. So when you first sign up and log into Build, you're going to be greeted by our onboarding dashboard. This dashboard is going to guide you through the setup process to ensure that you can get your workflow up and running as quickly as possible. So as you'll see on the right-hand side here, the onboarding steps are going to direct you where you need to go in the system for setup. And later in this call, we'll actually go through some of these setup examples as well. We also have the help center and tutorials that will be accessible in this view. So as you're setting it up and trying to configure your workflow, if there's any additional questions you have, we'll always have the help center and tutorials to help guide you through that as well. Now, once the system is set up, you're ready to get going on our main work order dashboard. So I'll jump into the dashboard here and we'll start walking through a workflow within Ecotrak. So moving into our main work order dashboard, This is going to be your daily jumping off point, right? This is really the centerpiece of Ecotrak, where I can quickly identify where work orders are in the system and what status they're in. So at a glance, I could see that I have a couple of work orders that are pending assignment. So maybe we want to get those out to a service provider. Or maybe we're looking at a proposal that's pending my approval, or maybe even work orders that are past ETA that we want to prioritize and try to get those back on schedule. All of those different statuses are at this central view for you to be able to make quick actions against those work orders. Now, to get a work order into the system, it's as simple as creating a service request, either on our mobile app, or in this case, I'm going to go through by clicking create a service request on the dashboard directly. So taking on the role of one of your operators at a store location, this is where I'm going to be guided through the intake process with a few simple questions. The first of which is going to be, where's the work happening, right? What's the location? And based on my permissions, I'll have options for maybe one or multiple locations to make a request against. So I'm going to go with the Seattle location. From there, now it's going to ask us, what asset does this work order relate to? Is it the ceiling, the flooring? Is it cooking equipment, electrical? In this case, I'm going to go with HVAC here and be able to source right down to that specific group. When I go to proceed, based on the group that I selected, we're going to have problem types that are preloaded in that I can choose from. So since I chose HVAC, I'm going to have a list of problems that relate to that kind of equipment. So maybe I say that the equipment's not cooling, and I can go ahead and proceed. Those are the three questions that we're going to be asking your operators. From there, Ecotrak's automation gets to work categorizing and assigning this request for you to the best suited vendor for that trade and location. So in this case, it looks like since I chose the Seattle location in HVAC as my trade, Atlas Trade Solutions is my number one provider. But if I was to choose a different location or a different trade, it would be able to automatically assign to the correct provider that best suits that work order. As you'll see later on in this as well, we'll show you how you can invite your vendors directly into Ecotrak, or how you can leverage our service provider network to source pre-approved providers to service your location. So as you scale, you'll be able to continue to grow your coverage for your operations. The system also is automatically prioritizing that issue. So based on what I selected as the problem type, maybe this is a 48-hour issue, but if there is more of an emergency, it would be able to automatically categorize that for us. From there, I'll go ahead and say that I'm the one that submitted this, and maybe that leaving a brief description. I can also drop in an attachment, so like a photo or a video to add some additional context to the work order so that when it gets handed off to the provider, they have all those details needed. So I'll go ahead and proceed here. We'll take a look at what that view actually looks like on the back end. So the work order is going to be automatically created. We can see all those details that we submitted have been loaded into the system. So the location, the service provider, that category and problem type are all logged in here so that as the provider goes on to complete this work, I can be following this throughout its life cycle. Now, if I wanted to get a bigger picture view of all of my work orders, I can jump into the work order module and see how everything's moving through the system. So all of our work orders are coming in a standardized way, which is going to ensure accurate tracking and execution, but also means that we can centralize that information very quickly and be able to make decisions off of this. So this view is fully customizable, right? If I wanted to pull different fields up to the front, I certainly can. I can filter this down to find the right work orders to manage as well. So again, back to that dashboard, maybe I want to look at those unassigned work orders. I can filter down, find those direct work orders, and click into them and start to action against them. So in this case, maybe I want to make sure that a provider is assigned. I can come in here, make a reassignment, and confirm that assignment. Again, your providers get automatically notified. They have their own view into Ecotrak where they can be updating the status of their work so that you can follow that work order as it's being completed. Awesome. Once they complete that work, they can also invoice directly into Ecotrak, where you can track your invoices and centralize those, and then also approve or reject those invoices. So going into my invoice view, I can see that I have an invoice pending right now, my approval. I can drill into that invoice. I can see the cost breakdown that the provider gave for us. Any other additional information or attachments that they've dropped into this invoice, I can see as well, and then move forward with approving that invoice so that we can properly categorize that as well. So again, following a work order from its intake through its execution and ultimately to its invoicing, all in one system, all centralized for your users in one place. Awesome. So from here, we do want to go over kind of how we set this up, right? We saw in the intake process that we selected a location, we selected an asset, and it got routed to a provider. So we want to go over how you set those up, how easy it is to get those locations, assets, and providers in the system so that you can start making those requests on day one. So within Build, I'm going to go into our location module, and you can see those locations that I just showed you already being set up here. Now, if I wanted to create a new location, I can go in and click Add New and start to lay out some of those location details. So maybe I say our Irvine location, give it a store number, an opening date, any details that I want to provide in here, I certainly can. We can have one or multiple concepts. So if you're managing multiple concepts, those can be identified as well. And then from here, I'm going to throw in my address just to get all those details into the system right away. If I wanted to hold leasing information in the system as well, I certainly can do so. So moving on to the next page here, we can have leasing details. So if your landlord has information, addresses, contacts for your lease, those can all be stored in the system as well with your locations. So I'll go ahead and add that new location. That gets logged in the system. And really, locations in Ecotrak aren't just meant to be addresses, right? They're supposed to be core data structures that tie together your work orders to that location. So multi-site operators like restaurants, retailers, they have that properly structured location data all in one place, allows you to centralize that information and action against it. Now, the next step would be setting up your assets. So having accurate asset information is what transforms Ecotrak from a reactive process to really tying those work orders directly to your assets. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into our asset view, and I can see all my assets loaded in here. Those ceilings, the doors, the electrical equipment, all that's in the system. And if I wanted to quickly add a new one, again, very similar process. I'm going to go ahead and say the dining room floor. I can tie that to a certain asset group like flooring, and then begin to set some of those preconditions for that asset. So maybe dining room flooring is going to have, a 48-hour priority level. We can input not to exceed limits, so our vendors can't bill us over a certain amount for that specific asset. And then from there, we can drop any attachments in there as well. So if there's certain documents that need to go along with your assets, or maybe an image to go along with your asset, that can all be loaded in as well and added to your asset list. Right, so those are the first two things that we saw in that intake process, locations and assets. The last of which is going to be your service providers. So all of your service providers get stored in the system, right? You can invite your own providers into the system. You can also leverage our service provider directory to expand your coverage. In this case, I'm going to walk through how we invite one of your own providers into the network. So I'm going to invite a new provider, say, give them their name. We're going to have a contact in there. So in this case, I'm going to throw in an email address, phone number, and from there, I can go ahead and invite that provider into the network. So now they're going to get a notification to join. From there, we can start to track all of your vendor documentation, rates, and terms along with the vendor itself. So in here, if I click into my vendor, I can see my rates and terms that they have pre-established. Any documentations like SLAs or other contracts can be loaded into the system so that you can properly track those and manage those relationships directly within Ecotrak. To expand a little bit on the directory, again, we want to make sure that all your vendors get into the system. But if you are looking to expand your coverage, you'll have access to our service provider directory where you can start to search for different trades and locations and find the right coverage for you. So in this case, I'm going to go with cooking equipment again. And maybe I want to search for Ohio. And from there, I can look in the directory and find pre-approved providers that are already supporting other Ecotrak customers. So I can pull up, looks like 70 different vendors that service that location and trade. We could see how many work orders they've completed in that area, how many customers they're already servicing for Ecotrak, so they're already vetted out. And then I can go and invite them into my instance as well and begin to work and build a relationship with those vendors too. So again, having service provider information in Ecotrak is going to ensure that your work orders are routed correctly and accurately, and also eliminate the guesswork and delays. Again, by capturing vendor details like trade and coverage area, the system can automatically assign those based on your vendor rankings and preference. So that's a little bit on the setup of Ecotrak Build. Again, this is really the foundational components of the Ecotrak platform. As your facilities operations mature, Ecotrak's platform core platform is really the next natural step. So you're already managing your work orders, your assets, and your vendors through Ecotrak Build. You've laid that foundation to seamlessly evolve into more advanced capabilities. And that's really where we start to look at Ecotrak Grow as a future state, where you can unlock deeper asset intelligence, warranty tracking, and reporting, and really empower your teams to shift from that maintenance, that reactive maintenance to more of a proactive data-driven decision making at scale. So we'll take a look at how you can level up. Since you already have that infrastructure in place with Ecotrak Build, you'll be able to evolve into the next instance, which is Ecotrak Grow. So we'll take a look at what that future state could look like for you as you're looking to mature. So jumping into now the main platform of Ecotrak, this is where we can start to capture things such as manage asset information, warranty tracking, and full built-in reporting. So we'll take a look by going into our assets. And you'll see that we're going to have some more options around our managed assets. So instead of looking at those general groups, we're going to be able to maybe look at specific pieces of equipment like this HVAC unit here, where we can start to track things like the make, model, and serial number, the install date, any warranties and service history as well, to give your team everything they need to understand that asset at a glance. So if we were going to scroll into our service history, right, I can quickly identify what's been billed against this piece of equipment, what has happened in terms of trends. So what was the issue? Which vendor responded? How much did it cost? How long was that asset down? All of this to help inform your repair and replace decisions against that piece of equipment. We also have the ability to track warranty coverage. So whether that's a manufacturer's warranty or a service provider warranty, or even component warranties on components that were switched out in that equipment, we can track all of those at 3 different levels and ensure that you are maximizing your savings opportunities against that piece of equipment. Within the core platform, you also get access to our asset insights. So if I wanted to understand our repair and replace decisions, I can click into our insights and see how much we've spent against this asset, how that stacks up against our replacement cost, and whether or not it's time to maybe make a replace decision for that specific piece of equipment. So in this case, our spend still has not reached towards our replacement cost, but as we spend more on this piece of equipment, Ecotrak is going to recommend either planning or replacing that asset outright to help inform your asset strategy. Lastly, all this information gets tracked in our reporting. So we have built-in BI to help drive some of your insights and decision making. So jumping into our reports here, we'll start with maybe the spend report and take a look at some of the insights we can gather in Ecotrak. So we have a built-in BI tool to help drive some of those insights, whether that's looking at rolling metrics across your different spend categories like repair and maintenance, or being able to see your top spend by asset groups or by state. All that information gets tracked. You can quickly drill into that and be able to make more informed decisions. If I want to maybe look at our spend and invoice analysis, for example, I can quickly identify which asset groups cost the most, which locations are driving spend, and make decisions off that data. So in this case, maybe I see that refrigeration is our most costly asset group. I can click into refrigeration and drill down on that entire dashboard. So maybe I want to look at the most costly failure types or the most costly problems and locations. In this case, maybe I notice that Chicago, while they're not our most costly location for refrigeration, they have a high number of invoices. I can click into Chicago and quickly see there are specific assets that are driving that cost, such as this build cooler right here. If I want to continue to drill down, I could see the specific work orders that are going against that one asset and start to identify, is there a reoccurring problem? Is it a specific service provider that's not maybe fixing that issue right away? Or is it a coaching opportunity for our operators to keep this asset running longer in the future? So again, with the full platform, you're going to be able to evolve into more strategic decision making with that built-in reporting and that built-in asset strategy as well. Great. So that's a little bit about Ecotrak Build and where we can evolve from the platform. Again, all these tools sit ready in the full platform. So when you decide to scale up, you'll be in the right place already with Build. Now, if you're ready to level up your facilities operations, we encourage you to sign up for Ecotrak Build. We have a 30-day free trial available. All you need to do is navigate to ecotrak.com, click on our pricing page, and select try free for 30 days. It'll walk you through the sign up process, and we can go through that entire setup and make sure that you're set up for success with an Ecotrak. Great. So that's the overview for Build, how to sign up. we appreciate you attending this webinar today. We do want to give some time for a Q&A, see if there's any questions that we can answer before we sign off here today. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone coming in today. Again, thank you for the time. And of course, feel free to reach out to me directly or reach out to our team more broadly. But thank you again, and we'll see you soon.